Welcome again, everyone, to webinar number 7 on network configuration. And today we will talk about what are network configurations, how network settings work in our eConnect PDUs, how to make settings changes from the display and web GUI, and share some helpful resources to follow up on this topic. Settings that manage any network-related functionalities, such as IP addresses, servers, web access, parameters related to the network are all considered network configurations. Their main purpose is to allow communications between the PDU and data center management systems. Imagine you're wanting to monitor your PDU's behavior or enable, disable certain functions. All of this happens thanks to the network configuration capabilities of the PDU. Any type of PDU monitoring, as we will see in further slides, can be set up through our web interface. In the following image, you can see a screenshot of what the Network Settings tab looks like in our web interface. You can have a full secure array setup and control settings such as IPv4, IPv6 setup, RFC and NTP time server setup, web access setup with HTTP and HTTPS, and so forth. So this information here is available in the user manual, and also the information cited on this slide you can find in our user manual. And it basically explains how to run the setup for the network, the time servers, and the web access settings. For the network, we want to use the Enable Protocols combo box and then select the protocols that are needed. This will allow to enter data for the IPv4 and or the IPv6. For the time servers, you just need to designate a time server to be the source of time after each PDU reboot. There's also an alternative way to do this from the Administration tab in the Advanced submenu. Finally, the web access settings allow you to designate a port to access the PDU using a web browser and HTTP or HTTPS. When setting up from the display, you first want to determine if you're using DHCP or Zero Touch Provisioning, ZTP. DHCP will be enabled by default on the PDU. If you work with our PDUs already, you've probably seen the default address being the 192.168.123.123. You can assign your own IP address by working with your network administrator, and to obtain the IP address assigned by the DHCP, you will need to reboot the PDU first. Now, the Zero Touch Provisioning allows the user to automate the PDU's network access when configured with DHCP server. The repository server would be accessible via HTTP, FTP, or TFTP. In our user manual, you will be able to find a special link with instructions to set up this Zero Touch Provisioning. Now, once you've completed that previous step, you'll want to set up the rest of the configuration as shown in this image, also available in the user manual. And based on how the display is layered here, laid out, click the left button to see the list of options. Then the middle button lets you select the option you want, and let's say it's IPv4. Here you can use the left button to go through the options and the middle button to select it. And then you'll notice how the display shows options to enable IPv4 and the DHCP. It will also let you make changes to the IP address and related settings. Once this is done, you can use the left button to select the Save option and the middle button to confirm the changes. You can also use static IP address by disabling the DHCP option. In this example, the left button is used to go to the IPv4 option, then the middle button to select it. On the DHCP option, using the middle button to select the highlighted option, the option is then switched to no, and that disables it. The next step is to use the left button to go all the way down to save, and then use the middle button to confirm that change. You can repeat the same steps for IPv6 setup as shown in the following image. On eConnect Monitored, Monitor Pro, Switch, and Switch Pro PDUs, you can use the web interface to set up network configurations remotely. Our most recent firmware version available on our website will have additional web access settings to improve the configuration experience. The following image shows how you will find that the same network options explained at the beginning are here, and this shows options such as enabling protocols, manually configuring the IP and the servers, as well as the time servers. You will also find the web access settings at the bottom with multiple options from Fetch API Endpoint, HTTP, and HTTPS. You can also select the type of certificates that's being used and verify it. And always remember to hit save whenever making changes to any of these network settings. For additional information on network configuration, you can visit our user manual pages 19 to 21 and page 47. If you're working with the command line interface, please visit the CLI guide available in our software resources on page 43. And for RESTful API information, you can visit the guide on RESTful API on page 53.